So, ladies and gentlemen, this morning on Sports File, we're going to tell you one of the legends of the governor. For those who really know me, everyone they know that my nickname Governor is based on a lot of things. I'm a big fan of movies. My nickname partially is based on the Mel Brooks character called Gov in Blazing Saddles. Also, because I'm very supportive of my hometown, they call me the Governor of Gravel Hill, New Brunswick. Now, in 1983, I was on a student exchange from New Brunswick to Ontario, Toronto most specifically, as part of a New Brunswick International Paper program. My dad had worked as a lumberjack with NBIP. We decided to apply for the exchange program. One of the companies affiliated youth from Ontario would match up with youth from New Brunswick. You would visit Toronto for a while and they would come back on a return trip. Now, in my case, that year I was quite busy. I was helping out with the Belden Mooseheads of the West Scotia Intermediate Baseball League in hopes that it would, have a regular turn with the squad. Unfortunately, it didn't work out that year, but that's another story altogether. Now, I decided to go up to Toronto with three ideas in mind: to basically explore the city, to go see a Blue Jay game, and go see the Toronto Argonauts, because at the time, Conridge, Holloway, and the Argos were rebuilding as a franchise. And I was going into a journalism career within the next year, and I wanted a lot of background as to finding out how these games work from a visual and from a development standpoint. Now, when I got to Toronto, I decided to go to a Monday night game at Old Venerable Exhibition Stadium. Very windy, very bad visuals, but overall the fans created a great atmosphere there. Now, I got a ticket for a Monday night baseball game between the Kansas City Royals and the Toronto Blue Jays. Now, this was 2 years before Kansas City and Toronto met in the ALCS, where Toronto had led 3-1 and eventually lost the series. Now, George Brett was still Kansas City at the time. Willie Wilson, Gaylord Perry, Vida Blue, Dick Hauser was the manager. A great acclaimed squad. Blue Jays had all their stars of the time. Clancy, Steve, Mosby, Barfield, Bell, Tomasa Garcia, Alfredo Griffin, Buck Martinez. It was a great team. So I bought my ticket near the what was the old away dugout, and back then there was no mesh to stop people from reaching over and trying to get autographs of the players. Now, I went quite early to the game. Outside of Exhibition Stadium it was quite a thing back in the day. All the fans and the autograph seekers would show up. The players would show up at the front entrance. There was no back entrance, and even with security, you had access to a lot of the players. Now, what really stood out for me was seeing Jesse Barfield, a very talented player, huge guy, man. I'm telling you something. I've seen people with 36 inches waist at the time. He was like thick as a football player. Huge guy. I think he's the biggest gentleman I ever saw before there. He was twice as wide as I was, but very good with the fans. He signed a lot of autographs. Now, on that day, I was waiting for the arrival of somebody to show up, and that's how we're going to end this podcast. You'd be surprised who I was expecting to show up. Now, after I got my autographs done outside, I went inside, started talking to the Royals, and they were very nice. I got several autographs, and let me tell you, they're very responsive to the fans. But to see George Brett in person, a very nice gentleman, very beautiful actually, one of the most handsome men I've ever seen in my life. See the powder blue of the Kansas City with the powder blue of the Exhibition Stadium field. It was quite good, like a Field of Dreams type of thing. And we didn't even call it the Field of Dreams before that, like based on the movie. Now, the game itself, Toronto won. Buck Martinez had a big home run, and I had an opportunity the second game to see the next night, to see it in the outdoor stands for $2 a ticket. In Exhibition Stadium back today, the outfield bleachers were $2 tickets you could buy. Actually, you could get free for certain purchases at Dominion Stores, which was an old Superstore brand back then. But the whole game was a great experience. I met a lot of great people, met a lot of great players. It was a 10 out of 10 experience because the baseball families in Toronto and Kansas City really took care of their fans. And I did meet some of the Kansas City fans that day, and it was, it was a great experience. The only negative experience is this. As I was waiting for everybody to arrive, including one of the most important announcers in sports history, some players were late, and Howard Cosell, the ego-driven, maniacal, self-centered superstar of the mic, was late. So we were waiting for Howard Cosell, waiting for him. It's about an hour and a half before the game. Suddenly a limo pulls up. And the limo almost hits me and 3 or 4 of the new friends I had made. We were just like gathered outside waiting for autographs, waiting for the players. And the limo just sped up to get inside the security gate. And all of a sudden I see him. He gets out. He's wearing an ABC yellow jacket that was traditional at the time. Complete tan, an orange evil vision. And this is what he says. You pug, you pugs, I almost hit you with my limo. Don't you know any courtesy? This is supposed to be Canada, a polite nation. Stay the F away from my limo. I'll have you arrested. You, and he pointed to me, you're the one that was trying to get to buy my limo. I have things to do. I shouldn't have to worry about kids like you trying to make a name for himself by the great Howard Cosell. And I'm saying to myself, well, if I ever become a journalist, I don't think Howard Cosell is going to take my calls. He was there that day because ABC, that was the first Monday Night Baseball game ever broadcast from Toronto. That was the big game of the week for ABC. And Al Michaels and that anti-Blue Jay, that gerbil from another mother, Earl Weaver, was doing color. Thank God I didn't see Earl Weaver. If you know Toronto Blue Jay history, Earl Weaver never liked us, never wanted us in the league. The famous tarp incident where, he basically forfeited the game because we're using a tarp to with some bricks to hold down some outfield coverage. But overall, the experience was great. The next few days, also, I saw the CFL game. Exhibition Stadium wasn't the best field in the world, wasn't the best venue, but by God, the memories and the friendships we all built there. So 36 years later, I still look at Exhibition Stadium. The whole experience is great. Like, how many people come from a community of 100 citizens, meet Howard Cosell, and be part of baseball history? Doesn't happen very often. And me telling you that this morning makes it baseball history, because you're saying to yourself, maybe I should look up this Howard Cosell guy that Jeffrey's talking about. Maybe I should look up how, he was in the early 80s. He was well past his prime with Monday Night Football, well past his prime with his boxing announcing. And, maybe he was frustrated to be, going to Toronto to cover a game. Like, my career is done. I have to get away from, what ABC is telling me to do. So on this pre-storm Sunday, yet again, another storm coming to New Brunswick. We wish you well. And as we like to say in the North Shore, okay, Blue Jays. Let's play ball. Have a good one. Bye.